Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. There are a ton of new subscribers over the last week and a half, so I just wanted to kind of do a quick little intro. My name is Audrey. My husband and I have 8 children, and we live on a 6-acre homestead in the Midlands of South Carolina. You'll have to pardon the wet puppy look. My daughter and I went out to the store earlier to get a birthday gift for a friend, and were met with torrential rains, which I'm so thankful for, but I did not bother changing or getting pretty for you because I knew I was coming straight home to get to work again. And chances are I'll be out in the rain in a little while again. Some of you found me as a result of Jessica at Roots and Refuge Farm. Jessica and Maya don't live far from us now that they're here in South Carolina. She generously opened up her homestead to teach me the ropes of hand milking. My family is in the market for a Jersey, and milking Helen with Jessica last week was so helpful. I'm really thrilled to have a cow mentor not far from us, and we are hoping to find our cow sooner rather than later. But welcome to all of you Roots and Refuge fans. I chose the name Pursuit of Simplicity as my Instagram and YouTube channel because truly that is my biggest goal in life, is to keep things as simple as possible. And that is my desire in sharing here with you all. Whether it be food storage, self-sustainability, homesteading, gardening, or today, for example, I'm just going to chat with you regarding some things that have been on my heart. This is our first official day of summer break, and my house needs a hard reset badly. I need to deep clean, I need to organize and purge some things, and I'd like to get in a good summer rhythm with my children. I have 7 at home right now. My oldest lives in Greenville and is going to college there, and my second oldest will be leaving for college in July. But those left at home range from 5 to 14. Some of the things I look forward to doing with them this summer are having some specific days of the week that we can expect the same things every week. For example, I imagine Mondays are going to be about meal prepping. I would love to have one specific day of the week where we do all of our baking for the week to prep things like sandwich bread, bagels, tortillas, things that we are getting away from purchasing at the store and can make ourselves, but it would be really helpful if we got it all done in one day rather than having to do it in preparation for each meal throughout the week. So I'm going to share those recipes with you as we do them. I also have some pinto beans that I had soaked in the quart jars in the fridge for the last 2 days. I didn't have time to get to them yesterday. So I have rinsed those and gotten them ready to go in the pressure canner, and I'll show you how we do that as well. Speaking of food, you see these 5-gallon buckets behind me. I purchased 100 pounds of organic oats from Azure Standard. I do not have space for 100 pounds of organic oats. I'm really glad that I purchased them. They were a fantastic deal as far as per pound, and they're organic. But this is the first time in my life that I'm actually storing things long-term in Mylar bags in 5-gallon buckets. The supplies were not expensive at all, and it's really great to have those in our house for when we need them. All right, come along with me as I work in the kitchen, and we can chat about some things that have been on my mind. I usually like to start with the stovetop when I'm cleaning my kitchen and feeling a bit overwhelmed. My stovetop is almost always disgusting. I cook on it 2 to 3 times every day, 7 days a week. I wanted to get it clean because I knew I wanted to go ahead and get those pinto beans started in the pressure cooker before I did the rest of the kitchen so that it would be done by the time I need the stove and oven for cooking supper. I typically just use soap and water and a dish sponge to clean my stovetop. I spray it with all-purpose cleaner and shine it with a dry rag when I'm finished. I had these pinto beans soaking for the last 2 days in the fridge in filtered water from our Berkey. I rinsed them and refilled them with a 1-inch headspace before placing them in the pressure canner. I was almost positive I had filled 7 jars with pinto beans to soak, but I could only find 6 in the fridge. When that happens, I go ahead and fill that gap with a jar of water with no lid on it. This keeps the jars from having enough room to clang around and potentially break while the pressure canner is working. Always make sure your water is filled to the right line. The top line in my pressure canner is for when you're processing quart jars. I turn the stovetop on medium-high and process the beans at 10 pounds pressure for 90 minutes. I wanted to show you my sweet potato slips before I wash the dishes. These are left over from our Thanksgiving sweet potatoes that were purchased from the grocery store. It took quite a long time to get these slips started, so I'll definitely be starting much earlier this year and with more sweet potatoes. I have a magnificent view of my garden from the windows above my kitchen sink. If you have any interest in my garden, I plan on starting weekly garden tours later this week. My teenage daughter that's on dish duty for the week is at a birthday party all afternoon, so I decided to do all of the dishes for her so she didn't come home to a big mess. Plus, there's no point in cleaning the entire kitchen if you are leaving a sink full of dirty dishes. I really enjoy cleaning, but for some reason, and I think it's just due to the busyness that we've had over the last couple of weeks wrapping up the school year, I have had no motivation. In fact, I've been dreading getting my house back in order. So this was a fantastic way for me to share with you while also getting the whole kitchen clean. Earlier in the day, before I dropped Eliana off at her birthday party, I cleaned all of the front windows, interior and exterior, and that felt great. I even opened them, popped them out, and cleaned all the window tracks. I feel like it's been a day of spring cleaning, very belated. There is just something about having our Berkey water filter shiny and clean. I have to move it from time to time to clean out from underneath it. It gets crumbs under there. Sometimes there's a little bit of water around the edges, but it always shines up nicely. And about once a quarter, I take the entire filter apart and wash all the components before putting it back together. We only have to replace our filters about once a year. I don't know about you, but I have been very overwhelmed lately, kind of in waves. Sometimes I feel great and I'm very confident and have peace about everything going on in the world, and other times I find myself overwhelmed. Today I was listening to a little bit of talk radio while I was in the car, and a financial analyst was commenting on the fact that many parts of the world are going to start experiencing severe food shortages within the next 30 to 60 days. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not the U.S. will experience any of that, but she was saying it is estimated that gas prices will average out at $6 a gallon by the end of the summer. And the other person commenting on this radio show was saying, what is that going to do to our economy? What is that going to do to people that are living off of their retirement investments? And I found myself getting nervous and fearful, and I just can't live in that place. I ended up changing the station and just prayed that the Lord would give me peace. My parents are retiring by the end of this year and building a house out near us, and we are so excited for them to join us out here on the farm. And I just found myself becoming fearful that they wouldn't have everything that they need, that they've worked so hard for decades to be able to retire and enjoy their grandchildren, and who knows what the economy is going to do to people like my parents and people living in their retirement years over the next year or two. I would encourage you to get your household in order. Look at your food storage, look at your investments, look at your debts. If you are able to pare down your monthly budget to as little as possible, you'll be putting yourself in a position to thrive no matter what happens in our country, in our economy, with the job market over the next several months. I think it's also a fantastic time to simplify. If there are things in your life that already bring you incredible amounts of stress, even in the best of times, how can you pare down your life? How can you simplify things? Get rid of extracurricular activities that have you running all over town on a weekly basis. Maybe you're paying for way too many subscriptions on your TV or computer. Cancel them. It only takes a few minutes. It's so important that we have good tools to decompress and get rid of the stress that we may be bringing home from work or school. I often forget how much I love to read. I'll check out books from the library, but also I love listening to books on Audible because it's so important that I'm able to multitask throughout the day, because my goal is to have everything done by dinner time every day. So I'm not running around finishing up tasks around the house or even work things on the computer when the rest of my family is playing a game or watching a movie after supper. I use a lot of timers and alarms in my life. A huge part of that is just so I don't forget important things, but it's also a really helpful tool for setting healthy boundaries. As my family has been working really hard on building up our food storage over the last couple of years, but especially in the last 6 months or so, it's become really vitally important that we regularly clean out the fridge and freezer. Taking inventory and cleaning out the freezer on a fairly regular basis helps remind me of what's in there. When I did my freezer and pantry challenge back in the winter, it was amazing the pieces of meat that I found at the bottom of the bins in my freezers that I had just forgotten about. And so we were able to make all kinds of meals using up meat that had been in there for probably close to a year. They were all completely delicious. There was no food wasted, but it just serves as such a great reminder that I need to be doing that on a regular basis. Pulling everything out of the fridge, examining the expiration dates and whether or not it's almost empty, allows me to see the things that need to be used up soonest. It also helps me to clear out things that have been in there for a very long time and have been neglected and need to go in the trash. This time I found 3 open bottles of these Asian sauces. We will definitely be using these by making either hibachi or vegetable fried rice later in the week. I also found 2 open bottles of barbecue sauce, so I will figure out a way to use those with our lunches this week as well. There were also 4 open jars of jellies and marmalades in the fridge. For breakfast tomorrow, I will make biscuits and eggs, and the kids can use these different jellies and marmalades on their biscuits. I harvested our very first vegetable from the garden this morning. It was a Japanese long cucumber that was over 14 inches long. So I went ahead and stuck it in the fridge, rinsed off these baby carrots that were in the crisper drawer, and these will be used as snacks throughout the week with ranch dressing or hummus. Now that the kitchen is clean, it's time to get supper started. I decided to put a bunch of chicken breasts in this large mixing bowl and marinate it in this P.F. Chang's creamy ginger dressing that I picked up at the grocery store a few weeks ago. In efforts to use what we have in the fridge, I will be steaming some broccoli, I'll bake this chicken in the oven, and we will also have a side of saffron rice that I added peas and carrots to a few days ago. I will put this in the fridge for a few hours before baking it. Now that summer break is here, I'm hoping to get on a better schedule with posting videos on a regular basis. There will be lots of days in the life, garden tours, cooking, what we had for dinner in a week, and maybe even a house tour, which has been requested a few times. Thanks for watching.